Hi there, come on in. I'm Fred Trost, announcing Outdoor Fair 1986 is over. Our fourth annual event was a smashing success. The weather reports we were worried about before we went to Houghton Lake last weekend, it was great. It was beautiful. Sunny skies, 70 degrees. You should have been there. But in case you weren't, stay tuned because I'm going to give you a rundown of what we did and what you missed. It's Thursday night. We're going to the Outdoor Fair right now on Michigan Outdoors. The Outdoor Fair 1986, an event we've been looking forward to all year, an event that 4 years ago when we held our first one, I hope that someday this would become a national event that would attain national acclaim. And folks, I think we did it this year. We had more attractions, more exhibitors, more people. In fact, if you wanted a motel room over the weekend in the Houghton Lake area, you had to go all the way north to Gaylord. The area was packed. The Michigan Duck Hunters Association got there in the morning for a shakedown of their act, waiting for the crowds, which came Friday at noon. A beautiful day, the sun came out, burned off the haze, the weather forecast for hot, humid, clammy thunderstorm weather was gone. The bird dogs were in rare form. Jager's Lust kennels brought a variety of English setters, Brittany's, German shorthairs. It was a great demonstration on the training of a bird dog. Look at that English setter lock up on the quail. A thrill to the crowds as they explained how they go about training bird dogs. Of course, the kids had plenty to do too. If they weren't interested in the dogs, they could go down to the Limberlost dock across the street from the high school, see the Water and Kids show put on by the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Coast Guard Auxiliary came and put on a number of demonstrations. This is the Water and Kids show, which is a safety show for kids in an entertaining way to teach them how to handle themselves around the water. How to handle your boat for adults? Well, the Walleye brothers jumped into the act, putting on quite an entertaining show. We had a number of activities around the water. I'm saying hit the darn thing. I'm trying to encourage these folks who want to dunk me in the dunk tank and earn a button for it to do it.
There we go.
You
get mad.
You are a problem. You know that? This guy, look at this, OJ. This guy is a serious problem. I dunked him. I dunked Fred. Holy cow, you've been dunking all morning. Why don't you say anything about it? Turn around to the camera. Tell him why you would do something like this to a guy who's on television trying to do hunting and fishing and archery.
Because it's fun.
That's what I thought. Because it's fun. That's what the entire Outdoor Fair is about, all the shooting events. Here they are, the dunkers. They're going to try to hit the styrofoam ball, and down I go. I tell you, there must have been 25 or 30 people each day that dunked me, and look at that fella in the blue shirt. He's proud of it. He earned his buttons. We had lots of shooting events. That's one of the main parts of the Outdoor Fair that I enjoy. Blue Skeen, world champion slingshot shooter. Did demonstrations teaching people how to shoot slingshots, and next year he's coming back with a slingshot championship we're going to run at the Outdoor Fair. We're also going to have an air rifle championship, an air rifle tournament, one of the first of its kind in the state. Air rifles are increasing in popularity, and here's a little gimmick. How about an air rifle machine gun? You could give it a try at the Outdoor Fair. Well, that's a lot of fun for the shooters. If you're an archer and you want to maybe take a long shot at picking up a couple $1,000s worth of prizes. Whoa, right next to old Slewfoot's head there came in that second arrow. Get your hunting bow out and take a shot at Slewfoot about 150 yards away. If you can hit the crest on that Stroh's can, you win the whole kitty. See that arrow next to the can, just to the left, that yellow spot? Oh, it's only a few inches away from the crest. But Slewfoot stood intact the entire weekend, and nobody walked off with a big prize, and I'm sure that that will grow next year. On our shooting range, the handgun silhouette shooters from the Great Lakes Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association acquainted well over 1,000, close to 1,500 people to handgun shooting, target shooting with handguns. The Deadstream chapter of the Duck Hunters Association acquainted people, whoa, she got a kick out of that, with shotgunning. This is especially for people who haven't shot these guns before. And the muzzleloaders put a number of people through with the primitive weapons that date back to our colonial era. Kind of fun to shoot these for an awful lot of people who enjoyed it for the first time. The muzzleloaders village, down in the grass, right off of M55, easy to see from M55, attracted a lot of attention. Many, many muzzleloaders from around the state and their families camped out for the entire weekend, cooking their foods and living in this primitive encampment. What do they wear? Clothes that they generally make themselves. So they held a muzzleloaders fashion show, a colonial fashion show, to explain the variety of fashions that you saw in the muzzleloaders village. Quite an interesting attraction, and on Sunday morning at 10:30, the muzzleloaders staged a mock battle of the French and Indian War. Exciting for the crowds. The first time we've had that at the outdoor fair. And talk about exhibitors in the exhibit hall in the high school. Everything from people making snowshoes, taxidermists, wildlife art, Floyd Eccleston, and the world's largest broadhead collection. We had gun and knife people, exhibitors of fishing, hunting, and shooting equipment, drew crowds throughout the outdoor fair. We estimate that 15,000 people came to Houghton Lake this past weekend to enjoy the outdoor fair. The Michigan Big Game Hunters Association had the biggest array of the biggest bucks I've seen since our hunting awards banquet. And Ron LeClaire, well, we told you he was going to treat the crowds with his group of longbow shooters. Look at this, shooting a disc out of the air. Looks difficult. Let's make a smaller target. How about a tennis ball? That was easy for them. Norm Blaker said, hey, I think I can hit 50 cents out of the air. So take a look at this. Here's Norm Blaker, traditional archer, shooting a 50-cent piece out of the air. And he got it, there's no doubt, in the highlighted area. You can see it and hear it. Took it right out of the air. Now, Ron LeClaire said, hey, I've been practicing. I can shoot an aspirin. He got it. He got it. Look at it back in slow motion. You can see the white dot suspended. See that in the towards the bottom of the highlighted area? There, the arrow hit it. Ron LeClaire took an aspirin out of the air. A phenomenal show. We're going to build on this next year with all of these people in a grand shooting show. And look at this fellow, 16-year-old Dave Strickland from Grosse Ile. He threw 4 clay pigeons in the air himself and shot all 4 before they hit the ground. He's going to be an attraction next year, along with a lot of other people. Tell you, the outdoor fair, it's something you shouldn't have missed. I hope you put it on your calendar, because next year, more attractions, more crowds, the biggest outdoor event of its kind in the country. What about Houghton Lake? How did we do at the outdoor fair this past weekend? Well, I've been saving the best till last, and here it is right now in the trophy book. The first fish that was brought into the Houghton Lake Lake Association was a fish that wasn't caught in Houghton Lake. It was a 1 pound, 1 ounce, 11-inch bluegill caught in Oscoda County the morning of the outdoor fair by Cliff Linsenman from Rose City. Dandy fish. He was drifting with a crawler, and bluegill like that are caught in Houghton Lake, and we had big fish to come. Here was Ryan LaChance from South Lyon. He was casting a beetle spin, fishing with his grandpa, who netted this 4.5 pound largemouth bass for him. 5-minute battle. He said it jumped out of the water. He caught that at 1 in the afternoon on Friday in Muddy Bay. Shallow area on the east or west side of Houghton Lake. What a dandy largemouth. Houghton Lake might not be known much for largemouth, but I tell you, they do catch the bigmouth bass out of there. Kevin Payne from Westland was drifting a crawler for walleye. What did he catch? Well, a Stroh's Trophy Award 28-inch, 7 pound, 1 ounce bowfin or dogfish. He says it fought more than any other fish its size that he's caught. And here's another largemouth bass. Carl Fisher from Gladwin caught. He was fishing out in the middle grounds, drifting a crawler for walleye, 8 in the morning. Landed this 4 pound, 1 ounce, 19-inch largemouth bass. That's a dandy. I tell you, those bass are hitting for the walleye fishermen right now. Chris and Cliff Simons from Canton got a stringer of some nice bluegill, looks like a rock bass or a crappie on there, and a 17-inch and a 15.5-inch walleye. Nice little stringer for a morning's fishing. And we did have a smallmouth bass that was brought in. This was by Jodell Moreau. Nice looking bass, smallmouth and largemouth both live in Houghton Lake. In fact, quite a number of species of fish are caught in Houghton Lake. This one weighed 2.5 pounds, but I tell you, it made Jodell mighty happy to be in our trophy book. The big fish of the weekend? Well, it was a walleye. 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Dave Mulholland from Grand Blanc caught it. He was fishing a Sacramento out in the middle of the lake. They were drifting with a bobber. Fishing for pike, actually. Pike weren't hitting, but the walleye were. He said he caught it on a 202 Zebco, just an inexpensive rod and reel, put up quite a battle. It's going to be tasty to eat. Look at the teeth on that walleye. That's a Houghton Lake walleye, what that lake is famous for. 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Congratulations, Dave Mulholland from Grand Blanc. You're our Michigan Outdoors Trophy Angler of the Week.
Also, congratulations and a tip of the camouflage hat are in order for Midland's John Tomke, who was recently named the Michigan chairman of Ducks Unlimited. John's a chemical engineer and manufacturing manager at Dow Chemical, who's extremely dedicated to the ducks and the places they live. And this week's outdoor reminder, it is illegal to possess wildlife, so please don't pick up the fawns. Leave all wildlife in the wild.
More outdoor news. Bob, our Outdoor Digest is out, and I think just about everybody has it in their hands now. It was mailed last weekend. The cover. Mike Barnes took this shot of an eagle grabbing a pike off the surface of a northern Michigan lake. We're going to see if we can't get up fishing with him on this lake. Maybe see that happen and get it on tape.
What a picture. That is
Certainly
great.
Is. Great issue, too, by the way.
In fact, we've even got some letters in it, believe it or not, Fred. This one from Tom Vanez of Jackson. He writes, and he says, it seems to him that there's no difference in shooting a high-caliber handgun and a rifle in southern Michigan. Why not pass a bill for rifle hunting in lower Michigan?
Because, number one, of the cartridges. Here we have a shotgun shell with a slug that is legal, that is most commonly used for deer in the southern part of the state. And here we have our northern Michigan rifle cartridge. It's neck down. It has an extremely high velocity. It can go much farther distance than the shotgun shell. Here we have a straight-walled handgun cartridge. This is a .44 Magnum. This is legal in southern Michigan because ballistically, it's not as close to the .30-06 or the .308 Winchester there as it is to the shotgun slug. It won't go as far, being a straight-walled cartridge off of a short-barreled revolver. So that's why these two are legal, but this rifle will never be legal in the southern part of the state. The bullet just carries too far.
And that's why the law ordered repeating handguns only and straight-walled cartridges.
Right. Now, a question for you, Bob, you being a bass fishing expert.
Whoa.
Where do you find the best bass fishing? These people, Wayne Rose and his family from Vassar, are going on a 2-week vacation. They want overnight campgrounds on a lake, and they want it near a place with great bass fishing. Where?
Anywhere. I mean, really, this shot of a good bass fishing trip Wayne Magdalena and I had was down at Kent Lake.
Right off
Oakland County.
Right off the expressway.
Second most populated county in the state of Michigan. So really just about any Michigan lake, you ought to be able to get good bass fishing, and there are thousands of lakes with accommodations.
Fish around the weed beds, try at night. That's
Right.
a good tactic. Try off the beaches after people have left the swimming beaches, because they kick up all types of aquatic insects and snails and things that the bass will come in and eat.
I do have two favorites, so Cadillac and Mitchell I think
That's
would be
right.
dynamite for this.
Houghton Lake is a good bass
Yes,
lake. You
yep.
saw it in the trophy book. Lots of places to fish. Just change your tactics. Talk to the locals. Now, before we get on to a feature on fawns, on baby deer that are out at this time of year, first of all, let's see if you can answer this question about guns in our outdoor quiz.
When the town of Kennesaw, Georgia passed a mandatory gun ownership ordinance in 1982, did crime increase or decrease? Violent crimes decreased 71%, dangerous crimes decreased 68%, and home burglaries dropped 65%. The crime rate in Morton Grove, Illinois remained the same before and after their 1982 gun ban.
Well, it's against the law, isn't it, Steve, to pick up a fawn and try to raise it yourself?
Yes, it is, Fred. It's totally against the law, and most people, you're much better off if you find a fawn just to leave it where it is and not pick it up, because it's better for the fawn. Also, it's better for you, because if the conservation officer finds you with one, he's going to, give you a ticket.
Well, I think a lot of people sort of hope that the fawn is orphaned, so they can say, well, I was doing a service here, preventing it from dying. But you see, they'll come back, they'll see a fawn,
and they'll observe it laying there, and they'll sneak away, and they'll come back an hour or two later, and the fawn will still be there. They'll come back 2 hours later. They'll stay in the area, and then they'll come back 2 hours later, and they'll say, well, but the fawn it was 4 hours, and the doe was nowhere to be seen.
No, that's typical of white-tailed deer behavior, and there's nothing wrong with either the fawn or the doe. They will stay in a fairly confined area for a number of days, and there's no problem at all.
Do they have any scent to them at all? I can't smell it myself.
No, that was one of the first comments, and you know, you can read things in books, but you have to experience it. And so when we raised fawns, my wife was getting one accustomed to human beings. We had it in the living room, and she was nuzzling it, and she turned to me and she said, you know, you really can't smell these. They don't have an odor. And when we've used dogs to catch the fawns, not kill them, just to catch them till we could tag them, the dogs would have a fit because they can't get a scent, and they'll smell their hind end and smell their front end and be very frustrated, because if there is an odor, it must be very, very faint.
White-tail fawns, beautiful but fragile creatures in our great outdoors. Well, here we are in the middle of the summer, and we have a recipe here for something that is not fish.
No, not this time.
I wonder what it looks like. It looks like little bits of fish. Has some breading on it. What is it, Kath?
McNuggets rabbit.
McNuggets rabbit. That was named by Bob Garner, who seems to be quite enamored with these.
I like rabbit anyway, but
Different.
this is different.
It's not stuffed. It's not just fried.
Well, it does taste like the chicken McNuggets
That's
that you
right.
buy, or chicken nuggets, or
Better.
better.
Much better.
But I tell you, it is so simple. It is so simple. If this is all they do in the fast food places,
They've got it made.
Mix a little garlic powder and
Egg, and we use drakes for this. That's what they suggested. You want tiny pieces. You cut this first rather than cooking it and then cutting it.
this could be chicken.
Could be very well
Really,
be.
rabbit is a lot like chicken.
Yeah.
There's the back of the rabbit, really meaty.
Very meaty. A leg.
The front leg, which would be the wing.
Oh, look at the meat on there.
Ooh, drumstick. Great stuff.
Could take an egg. You're going to beat it, and you're just going to actually break it up. You don't want it to froth here at all.
But in a lot of the breading recipes, you dip the meat in the
And
egg
the egg first.
and into something else, but not with this.
This is Drake's, and this is basically a wheat flour. And then the second ingredient on the box is salt, which is why you don't add any more salt to this recipe at all.
This does taste
You can taste it.
not really salty, but you can taste
You know
it.
it's
You wouldn't
there.
want to put any more on
That's
it.
right. And this is going to be kind of thick here, and you wouldn't be able to dip anything in that. Got garlic powder, and we did use powder rather than salt.
What is that, just ground garlic that's dried?
Yep, dehydrated.
You can taste that in there.
Just a little bit. Yep.
Now that would be too thick to stick your
Right there.
McNuggets in.
We're going to thin it here. You could thin it with vinegar if you wanted to. But you need that reaction from the yeast in either the beer or the vinegar, because it will react with the bicarbonate
So you
in
need
the drakes.
some sort of yeast bicarbonate.
Right.
And that's why oftentimes beer is popular in
Yep.
batters like
And make a
this.
frothy batter.
Turn the heat to
High.
high. If you use an electric fry pan, which I really like to use,
Yep,
I'd set it at 380.
Keeps it even. Keeps your heat even. And these don't take very long at all. Just a couple minutes, actually.
Well, they're so small.
Yep. They're bite-sized.
If you deep fried these, they would really only take, what, a minute and a
Oh,
half?
yeah. And total. Okay, we're going to turn these because they are not deep fried. It doesn't take just a minute or two, and that's it.
And here we have our Nuggets McRabbit right here. These are excellent. Bob,
I'd like another one if I.
I just put another one on Bob's
I
plate
saw
while we were
that.
You know,
doing
Freddie.
the preparation.
You know, Freddie, of all the things rabbits go through, you know, they're fed upon by everything, every predator in the world. This recipe may come closer to an endangering rabbits
That's right.
than anything else.
Well, look, I'll take
These
a
are
McNugget
great.
here. We'll take one and cut it in half, and you can see inside. It's like dark meat of chicken, and just excellent, excellent tasting. It's cooked such a short amount of time that it's moist in there, and the breading.
It's not a heavy breading.
The breading does have the egg in it, which I like that taste.
Makes it fluffier.
Not heavily seasoned. The kids will love rabbit this way.
Yep.
Everybody will love rabbit that way. What do I have to do to get a couple of more?
You're going to have them shortly, Bob.
Okay.
I tell you, folks, get some rabbit out of the freezer. You could do this with pheasant, with grouse, with chicken, a lot of different things, or probably tastes good with fish.
Fish. This
I bet
recipe
it
would be, yes.
Get outdoors this weekend. The summer's here. It's a great place to be. We'll see you next week. I think I can hit 50 cents out of the air. So take a look at this. Here's Norm Blaker, traditional archer, shooting a 50-cent piece out of the air. And he got it, there's no doubt, in the highlighted area. You can see it and hear it. Took it right out of the air. Now, Ron LeClaire said, hey, I've been practicing. I can shoot an aspirin. He got it. He got it. Look at it back in slow motion. You can see the white dot suspended. Ron LeClaire took an aspirin out of the air. A phenomenal show. We're going to build on this next year with all of these people in a grand shooting show. And look at this fellow, 16-year-old Dave Strickland from Grosse Ile. He threw 4 clay pigeons in the air himself and shot all 4 before they hit the ground. He's going to be an attraction next year, along with a lot of other people. Tell you, the outdoor fair, it's something you shouldn't have missed. I hope you put it on your calendar, because next year, more attractions, more crowds, the biggest outdoor event of its kind in the country.